Bilal Powell, and you're watching Dan Sports News.
No, Farrakhan, and you're watching Dan Sports News.
I'm Edwards, and you're watching Dan Sports News.
This is Javon Cornell, and you're watching Dan Sports News.
This is Maricino, and you're listening to the Dan Sports News and Friends podcast.
This is Will Richardson, and you're watching Dan Sports News.
What's up, everybody? It's Clee Watt. You're listening to the Dan Sports News podcast.
This is Nicole Michelle, and you're listening to the Dan Sports News and Friends podcast.
This is Jaden Gould, and you're listening to the Dan Sports News and Friends podcast.
This is Elliot Cadone, and you're listening to Dan Sports News.
Tell me a little bit about how you first got started in football.
So when I first got started with football, this was years ago. Obviously, when you're a kid, at 5 years old, when I used to live in Dumont, New Jersey. That's near Bergenfield and those areas. When I first started, I was in Mighty Mites, 5 years old, playing contact. I didn't start with flag football like how usually people do it. I went straight into contact. At first, I was I was a linebacker, I was a running back, I was a hard hitter because my dad played linebacker in high school, and then leading into college, he was a linebacker, so he's transferring into me, and starting off from that age, at that young age, until around 10 or 11 years old, I've been playing linebacker, running back. And then reaching to 12 years old, as I start to develop into the game, learning more about it, and I got to the mentorship and focusing on quarterback from an old quarterback that used to play for Bosco, Gary Nova. He's a family friend of ours. So then I was like, wow, this is his position is very important, leadership, everything. Everyone focuses on the quarterback. Everyone okay, this is the guy I want to play with. This is the guy that, makes the right plays, makes the right decisions, and I wanted that. That's what I wanted to be when I was older, I looked up to him in those times, because, family friend, he was always there. I worked with him for a little bit at the time when I was starting to become a quarterback. And our organization, Pop Warner, I played Pop Warner from middle school and on up to my 8th grade year. And I played for Jersey Giants, Bergen All-Stars, and the organization that's been really holding me down is Spring Valley Hornets.
Okay.
And they're, it's an area obviously located in Spring Valley, New York. It was a small program at the time. And then once I came into become their quarterback, we went right to Disneyland. They never even made it past the sectional. We went right to Disneyland where they hold the Pop Warner Championship, and that's been me throughout my whole life. I'm a person who's a winner, and I always take teams that are from the bottom back to the top in a way, leadership, having the guys keep motivated, working every day in and out, I'm a hustler every single day. I always work, and, that's been my mentality since those ages of my life, and that's how, I got started to do it. I've been working out for, forever, and my dad has always been the one that's been pushing me in football, and my mom, my parents, my family, everyone wants to see a person in our family to succeed, because I'm Hispanic orientated, and I want to show also play the sport at my position.
Growing up, did you play any other sports, and what was it about football that really attracted you to want to play that sport?
Okay, yeah, that's been a great question. Other people have asked me many times, have I ever played other sports, And yes, I have. When I was young, my dad, he was a really good basketball player. He was top in high school. I've been playing basketball at the time leading up to 8th grade, going into high school. I stopped because for football itself, it's been something that it's the main object of who you are, and football is football defines what an athlete is supposed to be in a way, working hard every day, sacrificing your body in and out the game. Don't get me wrong, basketball is fast, physical, and everything, but just football and at the position that I was playing, all the attention was towards that, and I just always been focused, and at the position I'm at, I've been focusing every single day in and out, off the field, on the field, showing how am I as a quarterback? How can I do this? What can make me become better? At times, I've done track when I'm growing up. Track's been my event because track's been my other sport that I've done in the springtime. Running, That's just been my thing, and I consider myself as a very fast athlete, like a fast athlete. So, right now in high school, I'm right now, this spring, I'm doing track right now. So it's been great keeping just football in like the fall, and then leading up to spring, I get into track mode. That's how I am.
Now, you talked about Gary Nova, who went on to play at Rutgers, as being someone who kind of like mentored you. But who were some of those other guys that you really looked up to as a kid growing up in football?
Oh, football. So obviously Gary Nova, as I mentioned, was one of the mentors. Obviously looking up to him. But I look up to people who have been doubted, undersized, accomplished. Like for example, Russell Wilson, 2-star coming out of high school, going to Nebraska, no one knowing like, okay, this guy's like undersized. He's not gonna make it very far in the NFL. He's one of the top, most accurate deep ball throwers in the game today. And I look up to Russell Wilson a lot, as the man he is off the field and on the field, and also like I just focus on the old quarterbacks that have been chose that they were undersized. Kyler Murray, I looked up to him, how he does his thing, how he works every single day. He's short, he's everything. Everyone's like, okay, he's too short to do this, he's too short to do that. For me, I look up to people who go make it same way as me. Many others like Tay Martell. Obviously, he hasn't had the chance to prove himself in the college level, but in high school, watching him doing what he does, as a 5'11" quarterback, has the speed, has mentality, is amazing. I just always look up to the undersized quarterbacks, because that's the ones that has the same game as me. We're all dual threats in a way, so that's why I like to show out for myself.
When I was watching some of the tape on you, I actually kind of saw some resemblance to Baker Mayfield. Another guy who was like a walk-on, had no offers really, and now he's, starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield is another one I forgot to mention. Baker Mayfield as a walk-on, no one like, he had the swagger and the confidence that he knew, and his work ethic and his mentality was going to get him to where he is today. Obviously him being undersized, him being in high school, he did all this stuff in high school, but no one gave him the opportunity in the college level. He walked on to Texas Tech, and then he got the play, got injured. Then he moved on to Oklahoma, walked onto there, and then had the starting position. And he's one of them that just shows the swagger, the confidence of everything that he does, his accuracy, moving around in the pocket. That's another one. That's a big one right there for me.
Now, let's get into some of your high school football. Actually, let's go back to freshman year. If what I saw correctly, you actually played at St. Joe's as a freshman. Tell me a little bit about freshman year of high school football.
Yeah, so me going my 8th grade year, I was in between Highlands and Joe's. This is my 8th grade year. I'm trying to decide what school I would like to go to for my next 4 years, And when I saw Joe's because they were very like, everyone knows parochials, they're always the big names. Everyone wants to be a part of it. And, I was like, this is something I want to be a part of at the time. This was at the time of my moments. Highlands always showed the respect for me in a way. The coaches, they're all amazing there. It was a very hard decision at the time, but I chose Joe's to have to see how my freshman year goes, and Highlands is always like, if I ever want to come back, I come back to Highlands. So then my freshman year at Joe's, it was a good experience, to have, especially like being a part of the teammates that I have, and I still talk to today, even though I transferred. Like Jaden Derillis is one of my best friends. That he was my running back at Joe's at the time, and he's also now in Highlands with me because he recently transferred from Bosco to Highlands, to play with me for our last year. And it's just all the connections that I had from Joe's, from that experience, especially playing, having how they say the brotherhood, I really felt that, like having the brothers I had at Joe's, Joe's, I had a great offense. It was working well for me, but in my decision of making that, I wanted to play for more years. I wanted to play for my full 3 years. I wanted to start my sophomore year, junior year, senior year. So I decided as soon as the season ended of Joe's, as soon as the freshman football season ended, which was around November November 12th, around there. This is 2018. I was in the decision of making, like, I wanted to start for my next 3 years, and I wanted to be, I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the man that could play and that could do all these things, because I feel like at the time I was ready to show out for varsity, show out to everyone in the world and prove myself who I am. So from that day, I chose that I wanted to enter the transfer portal to go into Northern Highlands that I am right now. And so far it's been the best experience of my life. The coaches have been great. My teammates here are amazing. The school here, this education is amazing. Highlands we're just on the way to be one of the top programs in the state. And it's so far from my sophomore year, junior year, it's been well.
And now sophomore year at Highlands, didn't you guys go all the way to the state championship? If I'm not mistaken, you had an incredible season where you threw 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. The team went 9-3. So what was it like just that first year at Highlands, as the starting quarterback, and then going all the way to the state championship? How was that?
It was, to be honest, it was very I knew from the get that this team, there was something special about us, that we all knew together that we were going to make it to MetLife, to the big stage, And obviously me, I knew I was ready. I knew I was ready from the first start, the old Japan game and on. I knew I was ready to play and do well, and just the teammates we had, the lineman was phenomenal the whole season. My running back, Ethan Davis, was amazing. My receivers, Charlie Chaney, Zach Saturn, Will Dreyer, Nick Holly. We were just on fire, and it was a very emotional experience for me, bringing something that Highlands never had in 41 year drought. They haven't won since this 1978 was the last team. And just me being that final piece for us to make it all the way, it was exciting for me. I've always had the winning experience, but that was to an extent that it was just very emotional for me, especially from this, in the beginning, the slow start we had, we went 1-2, and then we started to pick it back up, the pace, and we won 8 straight. And then obviously, the MetLife game, we will obviously have that one back. Next year, hopefully, is promising for us. We're feeling ready. So yeah, but the sophomore year for me, obviously throwing 2,000 yards, having 15 passing touchdowns, and obviously showing my legs, showing I can move, making things happen for us. That was my big role of that team, being a leader, and something that the Highlands team needed. They needed someone to push the envelope, because everyone when I got there, everyone saw my work ethic. Everyone knew. At first, I had to battle the starting position because Jack Stevens at the time was the quarterback. I had to prove myself to everyone, not just by throwing the ball, not just by being accurate, not just by showing my athleticism. I had to be a leader. I had to have these guys show that if they're going to sacrifice their time in the fall season, they have to do it with me. They have to like me in a way to battle at the end of the day.
Obviously, junior season was much different because of COVID. You guys only played 7 games, but you went 5-2. It was successful, pretty much, for a short season. Just tell me a little bit about this past season. How do you think the season went in your eyes?
Yeah, this past season, it was very I feel like there was a lot of bumps in the head, and we had to overcome them. It was like a roller coaster a lot of times, especially in the off season, over Zoom calls every single day, workouts. Everyone had to work out at home. Everyone had to figure out what to do to lift, how to do the workout, and at the time the fields were closed because we couldn't even get on them to even work routes, to even to get the throwing, to get our timing done. It was very slow at the start. And then as the summer started the football season to kick, we started to gain that momentum back. But there was a lot of adversity for this year, especially for our team, especially all the injuries we had, especially for me. The first game of the season, me against Hackensack, going into the third quarter, I think it's 2 minutes into the third quarter, I escape left. I think it was a 30-yard run. And me trying to dive into the pylon, I get pushed out and I land on my left wrist and I dislocated at the time. And it was at the time it was very struggling for me to I was never a person that, had injuries of like very significant injury. I've never had to deal with something where I had to be out for a game. I've always been to every game. I've never missed a game in my life. Like, I've always played every single down, every single day. Like, I never missed a beat in a game. And just me dislocating my wrist, I had a little doubt of like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna play for the rest of the season? Am I gonna still be here? Like, is this gonna be an injury? What's gonna ruin my career? Is this gonna be future? Is this gonna be now? It was very hard. And, obviously, as myself, I knew that I'm a God-fearing man, so I know God was going to help me and push me. And, it's like there's always, every time something happens, you got to just say, like, yes, God, and, like, yes, Lord, and, like, just keep it moving, It's always God's plan. There's always a plan for something, and it's always telling you, what I learned from that is, like, this game could take you out like that. This game could take you out like that, Like, you could think everything's good. You have a long career ahead of you. You have all these offers, and then that one injury, that one whatever, can end it all. And that's what that taught me, that, like, there's no one's ever, not in a way of safe, but there's always, like, you always play like it's your last. And that's the biggest thing that, that I learned from this season. Like, me coming back after the Ridgeville game when I backup played in Kyle Major, me coming back for the Wayne Valley game, I'm back. I have a cast on. I have a whole foam cast on. I'm like, wow, how am I going to do this? I was like wondering, like, can I do this or can I not do this? Like, my coaches were all worried. They were like, can you even catch a snap? I was like, hey, listen, man, we got to see what's going to happen, And so the game went on. I started off hot. I was being accurate. I was making my passes. The snapping issue was not a problem for me at all. I came out that game we unfortunately lost the game, but I came out that game with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. For me, having 1 arm and doing all that was like, I knew I had the ability to do it. I never lost my mojo. I'm not a person who's like, oh, I got injured, I got to be careful. Nah, not me. Like, I'm like, okay, I got to do this. I'm playing for my seniors, played last year for them. I got to get this. I got to get working, especially having a whole, like, one-handed season. So from that on, we've been winning every single game. The Riverville game, there was a slump. Our offense wasn't moving as well, but we got over that hump. And we played the Otapan game with ease. Our defense was playing phenomenal. We finished out beating them 14-0 and going back-to-back league champs again. That was the big one that we're like, okay, we went through all these injuries through the season. I was injured. My tight end was injured. My center was injured. Like, we went through so much adversity, but we know at the end of the day, if we put our heart on the field, we're definitely, everything could gel together, And that was just like the biggest thing about this season, especially us having COVID when we had to go away for 2 weeks. We had to quarantine for 2 weeks. There was a lot of bumps ahead of us, and we came back with adversity. It's always one major setback is a major comeback. That's the biggest word. That's the biggest phrase that we all went by. Major setback, all right, come back. Oh, we got injured, good. We work at it. We try and figure out how to make a solution. We can't let problems get in front of us, and then all of a sudden we're done. So that was just the biggest main impact of the season, and the biggest word of it was adversity. That's how I would describe that season, adversity.
What do you think you need to improve on most in your game for next season, senior year, your final year?
Yeah, so this season coming up, I've been working a lot. Every day, my wrist is almost, like, it's at 100% right now. Like, I'm feeling a lot better, feeling 100% to play. I'm feeling great. I've been working every day. Since that end of that season happened, I've been working since December and till now, and whatever, till summer camp starts again. My team, we're feeling very dangerous right now. A very dangerous team we're feeling. We've been working on timing every single day, working in and out, I've been working with my quarterback coach, Lamar McKnight. I've been working every single day so we can have that undefeated season. And we're hoping that we will, because I know this team will really bring it this season, And as myself, for me, I've been working on just mobility. Having the mobility of me, escaping out the pocket. Everyone knows I could do that already, but I'm trying to bring it to a level of extent. I'm trying to work on, mental part of the game, especially like reading the coverages. I've been really good at that so far, but I want to bring it up to a higher level where I could bring that into college, and the college coaches are already like, okay, he knows this, he knows that, he's already at a higher level. There's always those little percentages. I feel like right now at my where I'm at right now, I'm working on the little percentages. I'm working on how to get more power in my throw, how to get accurate, how to close my shoulder, and that's when that comes into play, having those little things to tweak your game, technique. I've changed my technique very well. Like I've learned to like have more power in my throw, using my hips more, and just working on that every single day. And that's just been the biggest thing about pushing my game even more. I feel like next year is going to be a very, very dangerous season for me. Having all the information I'm learning now, having all the information I'm pushing to do more about is going to be like such an impact for next season.
You received your first D1 offer from Columbia. Just tell me about that, getting your first D1 offer. How did that moment feel when you first got your first one?
Yeah, I mean, that first moment of getting that D1 offer, it was amazing. It was a great moment of my life, because I knew that I put so much into this game that, at some point, it's going to give back to me, but I know I have to work harder. I'm not a person I'm not really handed things to me in life. That's why I have to work harder. That's why I have a bigger mentality of doing more than what I usually do. And getting that first offer, it was just like, it felt relieving. It felt amazing because, obviously everyone stresses about recruitment. Everyone wants an offer. Everyone wants a full scholarship. Everyone wants the big A schools, the big schools, Ivy League, whatever. Everyone wants that, and just to get to that, you have to work very hard for it, and that's what I believe that I've been doing for these past couple of years at Highlands since my freshman year. That's what I've been doing, and I'm beginning to prove it more, getting more interest. I recently got a second offer from Monmouth University, a full scholarship. It's just things are starting to move for me, and it's getting better and better at the time. Especially working in the classroom every single day. Education is always first, especially for the Ivy League schools. And the Ivy League schools are like it's the best. It's the best thing to choose, and I'm gonna keep pushing to get more, hopefully, in my future.
What other schools are you also hearing from that have shown interest and stuff like that?
So I've gotten interest from a couple of the Ivy League schools like UPenn, Yale, who else? Brown University, Dartmouth, and a couple of interest from a couple of the Patriot League like Lehigh, Colgate. Getting some interest from there. Obviously the Monmouth offer, that was one of the interests from one of those leagues, and Fordham has been showing interest lately. So things are starting to heat up into my way going through my junior year, especially like having like that one hand. I gave everything on the field for that one hand. I hope something will come in return for me after that year. So I thank God for that to happen.
Now, just tell me, what kind of player are the college coaches getting in Enzo Arjona?
The kind of player they're getting is a man who could work on and off the field. A man who could lead a team through doubt, who could lead a team that's been down, or who could lead a team that's to win. I'm a winner. That's who I've been. I've been a winner since my freshman year and way before, since middle school. That's all I do is win. You give me a team, I'll get them to work. I'll get them to win. That's all I do. And that's my main mentality. I win. I'm a guy, I'm not really worried about, the stats. Everyone's worried about the percentages. I'm just worried about my team and having to win every single day. I'm a hard worker, I'm a hustler. I've been doubted a lot of times. So I feel like myself, I have to work even harder than others. Everyone says like, oh, quarterback has to be this height, quarterback has to be this. I feel like, no, it's the guy who has the most heart on the field, the guy who could work the most. And that's who I am. And that's what I could give to every single college coach that ever recruits me. And my confidence, my swagger, that's who I am. And that's what I come about to be. And from the future and on, I know for a fact that whatever college I go to, they won't regret it in a way. I'm gonna work hard every single day. That's my main mentality. I'm always a person who loves competition. I love when someone says that they're better than me because it pushes me more. I'm like, okay, you think he's better than me? I bet. We'll see what happens. You know, I love being the underdog because being the underdog, it just turns on something in me that just puts a lot of fire, and you can't stop that from me. You know, I'm just a competing person. I'm just always in and out the room. You know, I'm the first one there, last one out, and that's who I am, and that's what I would like to put out to all the colleges.
Tell me, who is your favorite NFL team and who's your favorite NFL player?
So my favorite NFL team, you know, I'm a Giants guy. You know, I'm a big Giants guy. You know, I'm always writing down the Giants. You know, Danny Dimes. You know, that's the guy. So, but my favorite NFL player, I'd like to say, is Russell Wilson. Like how I said earlier, he's just a guy that he just works on and off the field. I try and resemble his leadership. Everything he does, he talks to receivers every single day. He just works and works and works, you know. And I just feel like I could be like him someday, being in the NFL. That's my dream. That's my hope, you know. And you know, have a conversation being worked by him will be a life goal, like a life achievement right there. Because that's how much of a player that I look up to him in a way of being in that position.
Before a game, what music do you like to listen to hype you up before a game?
Ooh, okay. So before a game, I'm an everything music kind of guy. I'll listen to anything. You know, I'm not really a person like, oh, play this music, get hype. You know, I'll get hyped to anything. I'm always ready for the game. You know, I'm the person everyone's in the room, and like we're all getting ready for a game. Everyone's all like, you know, locked up, have the headphones on, all quiet and stuff. Nah, that's not me. I'm the fun guy, you know, all around, cracking jokes, you know, getting ready for the game, have the swagger mentality, you know, that's who I am. I'm not really like have the headphones on, like look my head down and like that. That's not me. You know, the music that I'll listen to, you know, in my car driving in, everyone knows, you know, I'm a big, you know, hip hop, you know, Drake always gets me rolling, you know, always gets me rolling for a game. Sometimes, depends on my mood, I'll listen to some Spanish trap, some El Alfa, you know, some crazy stuff, some dembow to get me lit. You know, maybe if I'm feeling a little classy, I'll get some bachata in, you know, get that moving, get that, you know, I'm feeling a little swaggy today. You know, I listen to everything, man. You know, old school, I'll listen to old school hip hop. I'll go into Biggie a little bit. I'll go into Nas. I'll go into some Jay-Z, some Kanye. You know, that's my main music.
Now, in your free time, when you're not playing football, what do you like to do when you're relaxing?
Oh, when I'm relaxed, you know, I like to chill around with my friends. You know, I'm always a big person that I'm very social. You know, I always like to hang out with people. You know, especially in the team. You know, I feel like, you know, being all my close friends I play football with, like all my best friends I play football with. You know. And I always keep it too, you know, especially on my team. You know, I always hang out with them. I always like either go out to eat with them, you know, at home chilling or watch a football game, you know, during the season. And, you know, that's what I do in the free time, you know. I'm just like, on the free time, I'm a very like social, relaxed guy, you know. I'm very easy to talk to. I'm a chill person. That's who I am.
And my final question for you is, you talked about working with Coach Lamar McKnight, quarterback's coach. Just tell me, what's it like working with some of the other top high school guys from the area?
Yeah, I mean, working with Coach Lamar, you know, it's been, you know, I've been working with him since my freshman year. You know, he got me to like where I am today. You know, also, you know, working with him, you know, also like being with my dad. You know, they're both pushing me to be the best I could be. And you know, working with the other like the top quarterbacks, you know, we're all friends. You know, people be like, oh, you know, oh, you compete here. Oh, you don't like this guy because he's better than you, whatever. We're all friends at the end of the day. You know, we all speak to each other time and time. You know, and, you know, to compete against them is always fun. You know, we always challenge each other. You know, we're always competing every single day. You know, every time we work together, you know, we compete. You know, we always support each other. We're a group that supports each other. Everyone who's worked with Lamar, you know, I'm like friends with. You know, I always talk to them. That's who we are as a group. You know, competing against each other, challenging. it goes from there.
All the best in your football career. I know you have a bright future.
All right, thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here.